Gotta have this.
This is Jim Lee holding what we all know to be a bag of erasers. But why am I showing this to you? It's because it symbolizes something more. It's because this is the closest we get to Jim Lee actually teaching us directly what I believe to be his most valuable lesson for comic artists of all skill levels. It's a hidden lesson that will transform how you draw and more than likely grant you better results in your artwork. But what is it? The funny thing is, you could watch a whole live stream and learn a ton from Jim Lee about anatomy and posing and still not realize this powerful tool has been staring you right in the face. What Jim Lee does but never really speaks about is his ability to erase without hesitation, attachment, or fear. But what does that really mean? These are all things Jim Lee teaches you if you pay enough attention in his live streams. Jim Lee, if you don't know, is one of those superstar comic artists from the 90s that the old guys talk about.
It's a staggering feat to sell over 8 million copies.
He got very famous for drawing X-Men, starting Image Comics, and later basically becoming the house style for DC Comics after he became a co-publisher. I'm pretty much saying he's a big deal, and his process is worth digging into. Also, be sure to stick around to the end because I have a few things you shouldn't do when studying Jim Lee or this cool, unspoken mindset. You know that feeling when you finally nailed the right angle on a face or managed to foreshorten an arm that looks natural or even just drew a character to your liking? You sit back with a sigh of relief after you drew it, and then you realize the character isn't facing in the right direction, or like the hand is backwards or something. And now you're confronted with a choice. One that can be met with hesitation, attachment, and fear. Hesitation because, man, you just put a whole lot of work into that, and the sunk cost fallacy is in full effect. Attachment because, dang it, you really like how that looked, and even though it doesn't serve the story, it will impress people if you show them.
Good job.
And fear because there's a sinking feeling deep inside you that maybe you might not be able to draw that well again. Well, this is not a choice for Jim Lee. Jim would have already erased it. And suddenly, the hesitation, attachment, and fear is replaced by curiosity, playfulness, and confidence. Now, before you start saying, Jim is only erasing quickly here because he's working through very rough sketches, I present you this. That's right, Jim Lee will erase confidently and without hesitation no matter what. So that's what it means. But how does that transform your drawing? Number one is stream of consciousness. This is an idea that stems from writing and storytelling, but I think it's a good way to explain this stuff. And in the case of art, it's allowing the artist to try out lines, poses, and compositions without any of the barriers to entry. Jim Lee shows this off constantly. He's moving from idea to idea so quickly that not only does he never question the decision of erasing, but he doesn't even erase fully. Without the choice of whether to erase or not, the artist can focus on what really matters, having fun and dwelling within the space he's creating, transforming his art into something much more personal. Number two is freedom. This one is big. The freedom to choose the best option, or rather to investigate the best artistic possibility, will automatically transform your art into something more unique. Generally, when you draw, many of your first few passes or attempts will be mere imitations of what your brain's kicking back to you from your visual library. Jim Lee demonstrates this for us in his free flow sketching, and it feels so special to watch him because we get to share in that process of freedom. Jim Lee shows that erasing without the baggage allows for the limitless possibilities that come with that freedom. Number three, a live performance. Jim Lee teaches us that the energy will remain in your work when there are no redos and everything remains on the same artboard. That's his process. There is an ebb and flow to how you work with your tools, and not putting extra pressure on your eraser allows for it to become much more than a mistake fixer. It's just another part of the performance, a subtraction rather than an addition. If you accept the stakes of the live performance of art and find the balance between your pencil and your eraser, it'll start to feel like Jim Lee's process, which will guarantee you a little more energetic feeling in your finished result. Let's talk about how to put this into practice. So here's the kill your darlings exercise to help. First, grab your sketchbook or some scrap paper and find something to draw that's either from life or a photo. Make sure to draw something that is kind of mildly difficult for you to draw. Now draw it with your pencil and eraser. So once you like the look of it, and I mean really like it, really feel proud of it, no matter how much you don't want to, pick up the eraser and erase half of it. Now redraw what you just erased in a different way. Notice how you feel when you finish the first drawing, and how you feel when you erased part of it, and also what happened when you redrew it. All these feelings you need to get used to. The more you practice this flow, the more you'll overcome the hesitancy in your attachment to your drawings. This hidden lesson from Jim Lee is so powerful, but it doesn't replace the hard work and the diligent studying of the fundamentals. In fact, the more that you're a capable and studied artist, the more this mindset will reach its full potential. So with that being said, here are 3 things you shouldn't do when studying Jim Lee, especially with this lesson in mind.
What?
Number 1, don't try and match his speed. Jim Lee draws fast. No surprise there, but the speed comes with experience, and not with just laying down lines fast. While it may feel good to loosely scribble without the thought behind it, or erase with reckless abandon, it will ultimately lead you to worser outcomes. Erase without hesitation, but don't draw so fast to lose your thinking. And especially, don't draw so fast to keep up with Jim Lee. Number 2, don't try and match his style. This lesson is all about the approach, and unless you're specifically doing a study on Jim Lee, it is highly recommended to not just copy his work. Don't negate the freedom of erasing without hesitation by simply copying another artist's choices. So number 3, don't feel like you need to replicate his process. Jim Lee shows us that erasing without all the mental baggage is a huge helper in general, but we are all individuals with different tendencies. So match the mindset, but not the exact process. Do what feels right to you and not what feels right to Jim Lee. There are a ton of lessons you could learn from watching Jim Lee sketch, so I suggest you go subscribe and follow him on Twitch and on YouTube and really understand all of his process. Watching his streams are really informative. You can learn way more than what I'm talking about here. Real things like balancing the masses of the figure, creating easily readable silhouettes, and eyeballing perspective are some of the standouts.
Good knowing he's out there.
But in this lesson in particular, erasing without hesitation, attachment, or fear, it's one that is super important and I think will transform your art more than any other. I hope this video made you reconsider how you draw and possibly remove any of that negative resistance to erasing. My goal with this channel is to help people find a clear route to drawing the comic art they admire so much. And I have a few really cool announcements coming very soon for those people. Be sure to subscribe to see more of my videos where I give you the best ideas and tips from the talented comic artists and their live streams. And if you're interested in getting quick and easy art tips that you can read in just a couple minutes delivered to you every week in your email, sign up for Good Art Tips. Join the good guys and get a little more inspiration to take your art even further. Lastly, follow me on X. I'll see you next time. Be good, everybody.
And if you notice, I erase a lot. So I'm mentally making adjustments all the time.